Hi students, I am Narayana Prakash. Welcome to FICO Academy online classes. Today, I like to discuss a topic on future tense. And in the previous class, you have already got the information that tenses can be divided into three categories. The first one is present tense. It has 4 divisions. And the second one, past tense. It has 4 divisions. And the last one, the future tense, which has 3 divisions. And the first one of future tense is simple future tense. Simple future tense is the first division of a future tense. And as usual, it has a formula, that is subject plus will or shall plus first form of the verb. This is the formula of a simple future tense. Subject plus will or shall plus first form of the verb. And you already learned several auxiliary verbs in English grammar. Do, does, is, am, are, was, were, has, have, had, etc. You learned several auxiliary verbs while you studied the 4 divisions of present tense and the 4 divisions of past tense also. And in the future tense, you can use 2 auxiliary verbs. They are will and shall. And it has got certain conditions where you can use will or where you can use shall. Very simple it is. The difference between the application of will or shall is that it is on the base of the surety. When you use will, there is great surety of the action than the application of shall. I think you can understand it is. When you use will, there is great surety of the action than the application of shall. For example, I shall come tomorrow. I shall come tomorrow. Just analyze this sentence. I shall come tomorrow. And in this sentence, shall is used as an auxiliary verb. Shall is used as an auxiliary verb. I shall come tomorrow. And here, less surety of the action. Less surety of the action. I shall come tomorrow, which expresses the less surety of the action. And if I write or if I say, I will come tomorrow. I will come tomorrow. Listen, which expresses more surety of the action. More surety of the action. And I tell you once more, when you use a will in a sentence, you will get more surety of the action than the application of shall. And generally speaking, it has got an order. You can use a shall. Yes, you can use a shall with the subjects like I and we. In English, we understood that first person, second person and third person. Subject has got 3 divisions: first person, second person and third person. First person means I and we. First person, I and we. first person, and second person you, and third person is, do you know what are the third persons? Third person means they, he, she, it, etc. You know, they are called a third person. They, he, she, it, etc. They are third persons. And generally there is a condition in the application of a will or shall. I mean, you can use a shall with the first person I and we. You know, I shall, we shall. I shall, we shall. That is the general condition of using shall. And will, you can use the auxiliary verb will along with, you know, second person and third person. I told you second person, you is the second person, and third person, they, he, she, it, etc. They are called the third persons. And you can use this will along with the second person and third person. But in spoken English, you know, there is no any such restriction. There is no any condition existed in spoken English. You can use a will or shall wherever you like, and never use a will shall along with he or she. And 2 days before, I noticed you know, the usage of shall with he and she. You know, that English is wrong. You know, the grammarian has made a mistake in the textbook. He shall, she shall. Wrong it is. You don't use such kinds of expression. You can use a shall along with the first person I and we. Okay? And in spoken English, there is no any condition. In spoken English, it is based on surety of the action. As I told you earlier, when you use a shall, you will get less surety of the action, and when you use will, you will get more surety of the action. Okay, see, subject plus will or shall plus first form of the verb. You know, first form of the verb is the basic form of the verb. While you write sentences in simple future tense, there is a formula that is subject plus will or shall plus first form of the verb. And you can use the shall along with the first person I and we. I shall, we shall. That is the traditional way of using shall in English. And you can use a will along with the second person and third person. I mean, he will, she will, it will, they will, etc. You will, etc. And remember very well, you are not supposed to use shall with he shall. Wrong it is. And she shall. Wrong it is. You can use only she will, he will, etc. And in which context you can use the future tense? You know, from the heading itself, you can understand in future tense, you know, which expresses an action which is going to happen, not now. You can use the future tense to express an action which is going to happen in future. Okay, you know, we can, I shall give you some examples. I can give you some example. He will accept your offer. He will accept your offer. Okay, just analyze this sentence. He will accept your offer. And in this sentence, you know, he is the subject and will is used as an auxiliary verb. And remember, you are not supposed to use he shall. Very wrong it is. You can use only he will. He will accept your offer. Accept is the first form of the verb. And you know, you can ask a yes or no question. You can make a yes or no question on this sentence. You know, just use the auxiliary verb at the beginning of the sentence. You know, just use the auxiliary verb at the beginning of the sentence, then you can make this sentence into a yes or no one. Okay, then what will be? He will accept your offer. You know, the question is, will he accept your offer? Will he accept your offer? That is the question. Will he accept your offer? So, yes, he will accept the offer. And if the answer is no, what will be the answer? No, he won't accept the offer. So, what is won't? Will plus not. Will plus not. The contracted form is won't. Will plus not, the contracted form is won't. Will not, you can say will not, but in spoken English, you know, you can use only won't, W-O-N apostrophe T. And similarly, shall plus not, shall plus not, shall plus not. The contracted form of a shall plus not is shan't, shan't. That is the contracted form of a shall plus not, shan't, S-H-A-N apostrophe T. So, very simple. So, he will accept your offer. So, the question is, will he accept your offer? So, what I did, I used the auxiliary verb at the beginning of the sentence. Will he accept the offer? Will he accept your offer? Yes, he will accept your offer. No, he won't accept your offer. Okay, you know, that is the first one. Next, you know, you can use this idea, simple future tense. You can express the same idea in simple present tense also. You know, while I taught you simple present tense, I already told you simple present tense can express future action. I already told you simple present tense can express future action. Listen, simple present. What is the structure of a simple present tense? You might have forgotten. You know, you want to learn everything by heart. This tense is supposed to be the foundation of English grammar. Everything is connected with them. Don't forget, you have to by heart the formulas and the conditions of all the tenses, I mean 11 tenses. And the next thing which I am going to say that you can express the idea of a future tense in simple present tense also. You can express the idea of a future tense in simple present tense also. You know, what is the structure of a simple present tense? Subject plus first form of the verb. Subject plus first form of the verb. You know, first form of the verb is the basic form of the verb. You are already familiar with it. Subject plus first form of the verb. And simple present tense, actually, you know, simple present tense is used to express, you know, a habitual action, universal truth, and the third one to express a future action. Okay, for example, my sister comes from Delhi tomorrow. My sister comes from Delhi tomorrow. My sister comes from Delhi tomorrow. You know, an action which is going to happen future, not now. And I expressed the idea in simple present tense. My sister comes from Delhi tomorrow. And the same action you can express in simple future tense. My sister will come from Delhi tomorrow. You understand? You know, the same sentence can be expressed in simple future tense also. I mean, my sister will come from Delhi tomorrow. So, what I am trying to say that, you know, you can use a simple present tense to express a future action. You already studied it, but the formula is different. The formula is different. You know, my sister comes from Delhi tomorrow, subject plus first form of the verb. present tense, and the same action you can express in simple future. My sister will come from Delhi tomorrow. Very simple it is. You know what I am trying to say, that you can express a future idea both in simple present tense and simple future tense. You know, the same idea. Idea means what kind of idea? An idea which is going to happen in future. That is the idea. And the same idea you can express both in simple future and simple present tense. And you know, another one, present continuous. Present continuous. You know, present continuous, that has close connection with the simple future tense. I mean, you know, some of the ideas, some of the future ideas can be expressed in present continuous also. I mean, you know, what is the structure of a present continuous? Subject plus is or am or are plus present participle. Present participle, that is present continuous. Present participle means ing. Okay, this one is a present continuous. Subject plus is or am or are plus present participle. Present participle is the ing form of the verb. Do you understand what I am going to say? You know, the idea, a future idea, you can express both in simple present continuous and simple future. You know, I give you one example. My sister, the same sentence. My sister is coming from Mumbai in the next month or in the next week. Okay. My sister is coming from Mumbai in the next week. You know, a future action. My sister is coming from Mumbai in the next week, or you can say tomorrow, immediate future. Actually, present continuous can be used to express three kinds of actions. I mean, a continuing action, to show a continuing action. You know, while we are speaking something, the same action is going on there, to express a continuing action. And the second one is, you know, sometimes the action may not be going on at the time of the speech. You know, you already studied. Now I am reminding you everything. And the third point is that through present continuous, you can express a future action. That's what I am telling now. Through present continuous, you can express a future action. For example, my sister is coming from Mumbai in the next week. My sister is coming from Mumbai in the next week. A future action. So you can express the same idea in simple future. My sister will come from Mumbai in the next week. The same idea, but we used different channels to express the idea. You know, I mean, a future action can be expressed in two channels, not two channels, three channels. I mean, you know, future tense, subject plus will or shall plus first form of the verb. And you can express the same idea through simple present tense also, by using the formula of a subject plus first form of the verb. And the same idea you can express through present continuous. I mean subject plus is or am or are plus present participle, that is ing form of the verb. I hope you understand. You understood. Listen, you know, subject plus will or shall plus first form of the verb, that is the actual formula of a simple future, and it can express a future action, I mean an action which is going to happen, and you can use two auxiliary verbs, will or shall, and I already told you will can be used with second person and third person, and shall can be used with I and we only, I shall, we shall, you know, that is the traditional way of using shall. But in spoken English there is no such restriction. You can use I will or we will, but when you write the competitive examination, when you write a PSC examination or any sort of a competitive examination, remember very well, you can use only I shall or we shall. You are not supposed to use the spoken English forms. And you know, there is another usage, going to form. Going to form. You can use going to form to express a future action. You know what is going to form? Very interesting it is. You know, you have to use all these ideas in your English. Going to form. I mean, it has a structure. Subject plus is or am or are plus going to. Going to plus first form of the verb. You know, first form of the verb means by, you know, to infinitive form. You know, I am not going to that side, you will be confused what is bare infinitive and to infinitive. You know, verb has got numberless divisions. I am not going to speak that side. Now we are saying about the going to form, which you can use to express a future action. You can use the going to form to express a future action. Subject plus is or am or are plus going to plus first form of the verb. And you are familiar with where you can use is or am or are. I already taught you in the previous classes. I mean, you can use is with a singular subject. You know, if the subject is singular, you can use is, and if the subject is plural, you can use are, and there is an exception case I. If I comes as a subject, surely you want to use am. Yes, I already taught you the application of is or am or are in the previous classes, and just to remind you, I tell you that if the subject is singular, you can use is, and if the subject is plural, you can use are, and if I comes as a subject, you want to use am after it. Then, you know, plus going to plus first form of the verb. Okay, subject plus is, am, are plus going to plus first form of the verb, and which expresses a future action. For example, I am going to buy a car. I am going to buy a car. I am going to buy a car. See, subject, I am, that is the auxiliary verb, and going to a plus first form of the verb, that is buy. I am going to buy a car. You know, an action which is going to happen in future, not now. I am going to buy a car. And another example, she is going to marry soon. She is going to marry soon. She is going to marry soon. She is going to marry. She, that is a subject, is going to plus first form of the verb. And one more example, and you can ask a lot of yes or no question. I am going to buy a car. Are you going to buy a car? Are you going to buy a car? Yes, I am going to buy a car in the next month. She is going to marry soon. Is she going to marry? Is she going to marry? Okay. And one more example. We are going to visit Kashmir. We are going to visit Kashmir. We are going to visit Kashmir. I mean, we can express a future action through going to form. And while you use going to form in future tense, there is a structure for it. Subject plus is or am or are plus going to plus first form of the verb. And another one, about to. Use of about to. About to plus verb. The same formula, subject plus is or am or are plus about to plus verb. She is, subject plus is, am, are plus about to plus verb. One example, he is about to, he is about to do this job. He is about to do this job. About to do this job means he is going to do it. He is not doing now. That fellow is not doing now. He is going to do it. So that moment you can use he is about to do this job. That means which is going to, an action which is going to happen in future. Do you understand? He is about to do this job. He is a subject, is, am, are plus about to plus first form of the verb. And there is one more. He is about to begin his lecture. He is about to begin his lecture. He is about to begin his lecture. What does it mean? He is about to begin. He is going to start. About to begin means he is going to start. He is going to start his lecture. I mean, which expresses a future action. And the last one, there is one more expression. I mean, use of be to verb plus to verb. Use of be plus verb. Be, listen, I shall speak about the auxiliary verbs. And the auxiliary verbs have 3 divisions. Listen, the auxiliary verbs have classified into 3 divisions. The first division is called primary auxiliary verbs. Primary auxiliary verbs. You want to study all these things. The first division, auxiliary verbs can be classified into 3 divisions. The first one is called primary auxiliary verbs. Primary auxiliary verbs. And in this primary auxiliary verbs, again it has three divisions. Again it has three divisions. The first one is called B family. The first one is called B family. B family? B family means am, is, are, was, were. They are called B family. And in the question paper, you will see, use the appropriate form of B. You will see in bracket B. In the tense question, you will see the use of B in bracket. B means, you have to select the appropriate auxiliary verb from the B family. B family means am, is, are, was, were. They are called, the ingredients in B family. And next one is the do family. Do family. Do family. Do family. Do family means do, does, and did. They are called do family. Similarly, you will see in the question paper, do. They will write in bracket do. That means you can use the appropriate form of do family. You can use does, or you can use do, or if the tense is past, you can use did. Where you can use do or does? If the subject is singular, you have to use does. And if the subject is plural, you want to use do. And if the sentence is past, you want to use did. So they are called do family. And the third one is have family. Have family. That is the third one. Have family means, has, have, and had. Have family means has, have, had. And you will see this type of questions in the paper. In bracket they will write, in bracket they will give you B, only B. That means you have to find out the exact auxiliary verb from the B group. And similarly, they will give you do in bracket. That means you have to find out the exact auxiliary verbs like do, does, and did. And the last one, have family, has, have, had. They are called primary auxiliary verbs. Primary auxiliary verbs we use only to make tense. You already studied simple present, present continuous, present perfect continuous. And simple past, past continuous, past perfect, and past perfect continuous. So for the formation of tenses, we need the help of these primary auxiliary verbs. Primary auxiliary verbs have classified into three divisions: B family, do family, and have family. And the next one is modal auxiliary verbs. Modal auxiliary verbs. Modal auxiliary verb. Second one. Modal auxiliary verbs. That is the second one, primary auxiliary verbs. There are three divisions in auxiliary verbs. The first one is primary auxiliary verbs, I already explained, and the second one is modal auxiliary verbs. And these modal auxiliary verbs we never use for the formation of tenses, and they are will, shall, should, would, can, could, might, may or might. May, might, etc. Must. They are called modal auxiliary verbs. Will, shall, should, would, can, could, may, might, must. They are called modal auxiliary verbs. And there is one more category, the last one, semi-modal auxiliary verb. Semi-modal auxiliary verb. That is the third one. Semi-modal auxiliary verb. Semi-modal. Do you have any idea about a semi-modal auxiliary verb? I mean, dare, need, used to, ought to, etc. Ought to, etc. Dare, need, used to, ought to, they are called semi-modal auxiliary verbs. Now, I think you might have got the clear idea of auxiliary verbs. Auxiliary verbs have three divisions. I mean, the first one, primary auxiliary verbs. Again, it has got three divisions. And the second one, modal auxiliary verbs. Will, shall, should, would, can, could, may, might, must, etc. They are called modal auxiliary verbs. And the third one, semi-modal auxiliary verb. They are dare, need, used to, ought to, etc. They are called semi-modal auxiliary verbs. And you come to the point, use of be plus to verb. Use of be plus to verb. What does it mean, use of be to plus to verb? We are talking about the use of a simple future tense. Don't forget that. And accidentally, I explained the auxiliary verbs. And come to the point, use of be plus to verb. Be means the be form. Be form means am, is, are, was, were, etc. So we can make a formula, subject plus is or am or are plus to verb. Subject plus is or am or are plus to verb. This is the present be form. Present be form. Subject plus is or am or are plus to verb. I mean present be form. And what will be the past be form? Subject plus was or were. Subject plus was or were plus to verb, that will be called as past be form. And I shall give you one example. I am to meet a doctor. 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 Okay, I am to meet a doctor. That means, he is going to meet a doctor. I am going to meet a doctor. So I say that I am to meet a doctor. You understand? An action which is going to happen in future. Another example, the similar, he is to meet. He is to meet the general manager. The general manager of the company. He is to meet the general manager of the company. He is to meet the general manager of the company. He didn't meet now. He is going to meet the general manager of the company. So that's why we express the idea he is to meet the general manager of the company. So these are the applications, the uses of a simple future tense. And shortly speaking, simple future tense has a formula, subject plus will or shall plus first form of the verb. And it uses to express an action which is going to happen in future. And you can understand, when you use will, there is great surety of the action than the application of shall. In traditional English, you should use only shall with I and we. I shall, we shall. And in spoken English, you can use I will or we will, no problem. But while you write the examination, I mean, competitive examination, you should use only I shall, we shall. Okay. And through simple present tense, you can express the same future action. And through present continuous also, you can express the same future action. And you can use the going to form to express a future action. And another one, you can use about to. You can use the about to form to express a future action. And another one, the last one which I took now, the be form, be plus to first form of the verb. And this simple future tense is over. And the next one is future continuous. Future continuous is the next one. Second one, future continuous. Future continuous. It has a formula, that is subject plus will or shall plus be plus present participle. Present participle, this term is used in many structures. Present participle, that is the ing form of the verb. Listen, subject plus will or shall plus be plus present participle, I mean ing form. And I already explained the application of a will or shall. I am not going to speak about it. Plus be, you have to use additionally be here, then present participle. Present participle means, ing form of the verb. And in which context you can use present future continuous. You want to understand the context, then you can use it without making any mistake. In which context you can apply future continuous. Future continuous means an action is progressing in future, not now. Present continuous. What is present continuous? An action is progressing, developing in the present. An action is developing or progressing in the present. That is called a present continuous. And what is past continuous? An action is developing in the past. An action which was developing in the past. And what is future continuous? Future continuous means a progressive action in the future. A progressive action in the future. For example, you can easily understand, we shall be writing the examination. We shall be writing the examination. We shall be writing the examination tomorrow. Tomorrow morning. See, we shall be writing the examination tomorrow morning. Just analyze the sentence and try to understand the meaning. Just analyze the sentence and try to understand the meaning. We shall be writing the examination tomorrow morning. What will you be doing tomorrow morning? What will you be doing tomorrow morning? We shall be writing the examination tomorrow morning. Suppose you have an examination tomorrow and you are preparing for the examination, and while you prepare the examination, you will have a thought in your mind, I shall be writing the examination tomorrow morning. I shall be writing the examination tomorrow morning. I mean, an action is progressing, an action is developing in future. Another example, we shall be playing the match. We shall be playing the match. We shall be playing the match tomorrow evening. We shall be playing the match tomorrow evening. A future progressive action. A future progressive action. We shall be playing the match tomorrow. No problem, you can use the will also. We will be playing the match tomorrow evening. No problem. But remember, in the competitive examination, you want to use only shall after the subjects like I and we. In spoken English, you can use a will or shall. But again, I tell you that you are not supposed to use a shall with a he and she. He shall, don't say. Wrong it is. Similarly, he shall, don't say. Wrong it is wrong. Okay, we shall be playing the match tomorrow morning. That is the first condition. What is the first condition? Future continuous expresses an action in progress, in future. An action is developing or progressing in future. That is called the future continuous. Subject plus will or shall plus be plus present participle. And it has a second condition. The second condition is that you can express an official decision. You can express an official decision through future continuous. By using future continuous, you can express an official decision. For example, the Prime Minister will be coming here to inaugurate the meeting. Prime Minister won't come. It is better for us to say that MLA or someone like that. I forgot to say that. Anyway, it is an only example, consider that. The Prime Minister will be coming here to inaugurate the meeting. And in this sentence, you just analyze the sentence, you can easily understand it is an official decision. It is an official decision. The Prime Minister will be coming here to inaugurate the meeting. You can express only two kinds of actions in future continuous. The first one, a progressive action in future, and the second one to express what? To express an official decision. See, the third division of a future tense. We are going to conclude our chapter, our topic today. The last one, the third one, the future perfect. And again, it has a formula: subject plus will or shall plus have plus past participle. And past participle is the ed or en form of the verb. Past participle is the ed or en form of the verb. I mean, the third form of the verb. The first form is called present second form past, and third form past participle, and the fourth one present participle. You know, you want to remember all these things. The future perfect tense, the future perfect, and when you can use future perfect, and it has got a context, a condition. I mean, it expresses the expected completion, of an event or an action, in future. You know, that is the condition. Very simple it is. The expected completion of an event or an action in future. It is only an expectation that we shall complete an action or an event in future. You understand? You know, I shall give you one example, then you can easily understand it. You know, the theory is that the future perfect tense, which expresses the expected completion of an event or an action in future. You know, I shall give you one example. I shall have completed my work. I shall have completed my work before the end of this month. See what a beautiful sentence it is. I shall have completed my work before the end of this month. You know what is the condition when you can use sentences in future perfect? In which context? It is an expected completion of an action or an event in future, that I told you. And you read the sentence, I shall have completed my work before the end of this month, and it is only an expectation. I shall have completed my work before the end of this month. See the structure: I, subject, shall, auxiliary verb, have, the same, and completed is the past participle. I shall have completed my work before the end of this month. Another example, they will have completed all the portions. They will have completed all the portions. You know, we can change they. The teachers, you know, that is the next best thing. The teachers will have completed all the portions before the exams. Before the exam starts. The teachers will have completed all the portions before the exam starts. You know, it is only an expectation. We expect that they will complete their action before a particular period, or before a particular point of time. Only an expectation, they will complete all the work before a particular point of time. So we completed the last one, future perfect. And today I took 3 topics: simple future tense, subject plus will or shall plus first form of the verb. Then I took the second one, future continuous, subject plus will or shall plus be plus present participle. And the last one, future perfect subject plus will or shall plus have plus past participle. And in the next class, we can start reporter speech, direct speech and indirect speech. And there is one problem, you want to thoroughly study all the tense structures, then you can easily understand. Otherwise, you will be confused. You will have a good knowledge regarding the 11 tenses. Then only you can use all the items in direct speech and indirect speech. Okay, thank you very much for listening my class.
FICO Academy, first floor, PV Complex, Civil Line Road, West Fort, Thrissur. Phone 9946 99460, 9946 99461.